Thank you guys for attending this short training video tutorial on how to use the KBBH Help Center as an admin team. We're going to start off by simply navigating to the portal at helpcenter.kbbh.org. Now it will redirect you to sign in through Office 365. Just simply click on your account, enter your username and password, and it will take you to this page. This is a dashboard that I had created for my team. Each team will have a different dashboard, but this will be what you see when you land. We're going to start by just going into the project. So for this, I'm going to pick the IT project because they'll be the ones using this portal the most. Now, as you'll notice, there's a couple of different options that they have on the side here. There's also a couple of different options here. What we're going to focus on is queues, reports, and raise a request. Now, queues will be the most important because this is what you'll work with to resolve the requests. As you can see here, there's 4 queues that are created for the IT team. There's all open, unassigned, assigned to me, and closed. Now, the reason for this is because this is a simple way of finding all of the requests that you want to work with without having to do any advanced searching. So for starters, we see that there's a request in this queue under the all open for a TIC meeting setup. Now currently it's in progress, which means somebody has been working on it. Now at a high level, this is what you can see. If you click on either the key or the summary, you can actually open a request. Now from here, you're able to go into the request and see everything about the request when it was submitted from the portal. So for example, you can see it was the issue type, the request type was meeting equipment setup. By default, all IT requests are low priority. We don't have to worry about components or labels. The department that they selected was adult outpatient. It's at 1 o'clock, not recurring, in the Eldorado conference room, projector, speakers, and a laptop. Okay. Now, if you click on this View Workflow button, this is a little bit complicated. However, if you hover over things, you can kind of follow it through. So as you can see, this has made it all the way into in progress, which means it has left the queue. Now, I'm going to briefly go over what these different statuses mean because these are very important for you. Waiting on support means that it's in your queue. It has not started. It may be assigned to a technician, and there may be conversation back and forth with the employee that submitted the request, but it most likely has not had any work done on it. Now, if at that point you have, say, a meeting that's scheduled out a month, you don't want to close the request, but you also don't want to hurt your service level agreement. So there is a button that you can click on called Scheduled. Now, alternatively, if it's not something scheduled, but you can't work on it because the customer did not provide enough information, or you need to know something such as when can we meet up and go over this issue, what you can do is click on Waiting for Customer right here, and it will pause your service level agreement, alert the customer, and when you do this, please leave a comment as to what you need from the customer. The customer has been trained in all of the staff trainings that they need to look for a comment and then reply back with exactly what you need to know. When that happens, it will transfer back into waiting on support for you to decide if this is enough information. If it is, you can move it into in progress. Now, once the request is entirely completed, you can go ahead and either complete this request if you actually did all the work, or if the work was either impossible to reproduce, if it was an illegal request, such as a HIPAA violation or something along those lines, or if the issue just no longer needs to be fixed, whether it's something as simple as the employee changed the batteries in their mouse and it started working again. You can go ahead and cancel the request if you didn't do anything and the employee ends up doing all the work for you. On the other end, the employee is also able to cancel the request. So they do not necessarily have to contact you. Okay, the last step of a workflow is if a request is canceled or completed, it can be reopened. That's why there's an arrow both ways here. Now what happens here is when anything is either canceled or completed, if the customer is not satisfied or the issue reoccurs, they can click reopen this request and it will begin the request again. Now, most likely if the issue happens again 2 or 3 weeks later, they'll just submit a new request. However, if it's the same day or the next day that you complete or cancel the request and the user is not satisfied, they can just reopen this request to save everyone time of documentation and having to merge tickets. Okay, we're going to close that. Okay, so you go ahead and you have marked the ticket as in progress. What you can do to complete the work is you can go down into the comments and you can leave a comment. Now say this has already happened, the meeting is completed, and it no longer needs to be opened. You could say delivered the equipment to the meeting and removed when the meeting was over. Now what you could do is click share with customer, and you can see that happened there. And then you can go ahead and complete this request. Now you'll see here there's a button that says reopen this request. Now what happens when you do this is it will restart your SLA timer, which as you can see this one's well past due, and it will clear the resolution. So we're going to go ahead and do that really quick. Now this basically brings this back up to the beginning of the workflow. And what you can do from here is, let's say the issue was not assigned. You can click this assign button, and it's currently assigned. But let's say Chad is going to work on this request. We're just going to go ahead and reassign the request. And you can see right here it says Chad is the assignee. Now this button here that says assign to me will also show up if it's unassigned. So right when you start, you can just click this assign to me and it will reassign the request. If you are ready to work on a request, you do not need to assign the request. Just to show you guys, we're going to go ahead and unassign the request. If you click on in progress, it will bring up the assignee screen. And you can click on this or this. You can leave a comment if necessary, mark as in progress, and you can see the request is ready to be actively worked on. Now we're going to go ahead and complete this request and go back to our queue. Now if you refresh the page here, you can see Team Coffee Run. Everything's closed. Now there's also this queue here for closed. So say the customer calls and they decide, hey, we want this ticket to be reopened. You can go ahead and go back into here and reopen this request. It will move it back into the all open queue. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Now, if a customer, and this especially applies to IT, if a customer is unable to submit an email, which is the current process, or navigate to the portal, say their account's locked out or their computer's not working, they have no internet, something along those lines, you may raise a request on behalf of somebody. That should be typically the only time that you would raise a request for someone else. Now, if you also want to just document what you're actively working on, you can do so by clicking on this raise a request. It will bring up a window that takes you straight to whatever portal you're in. So If you're in the BI portal, for example, and you click that button, it will take you straight here. You may also go back to here if you want to raise a request for a different department. However, you will not have the ability to raise a request on behalf of another department. So we're just going to go into IT and we're going to say that Jeff was having a hard day and he can't get into his email. And we're just going to say that the password is locked out on my email. Okay, Jeff works in the admin department, and we're going to say the email is not working. And we're going to say, I tried to reset my password, but the password confirmation link doesn't work properly. I need my password reset. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create this request on behalf of Jeff. Now what you can do is you can go ahead and close this box. We're going to go back into All Open, and you can see that this is in the All Open queue. Now, the other queue that this is in is the Unassigned Issues. This is a great queue because it can show you what issues need to be allocated. If this number is really high, it's time to start assigning requests to yourself, or if you're the manager or you're responsible for assigning the requests in the queue to people, then you can go into here and just start assigning. So we're going to go ahead and open this request. Now, again, just for more practice at working with requests, what we're going to do is we're just going to walk through this one entirely. Okay, so for starters, I think Jeff put in enough information. He was also very polite and said thank you at the end, which is much appreciated. So what we're going to do is we're ready to start working on it. So we're just going to click on In Progress, click Assign to Me, click In Progress. Okay, if we look at our workflow, it has gone through waiting on support, then into In Progress. Now we have two places we can go from here. We can go into waiting for customer, or we can either complete or cancel this request. All right, so we're going to say the password has been reset and the confirmation questions have been fixed. Jeff doesn't know exactly what he's asking for, so the confirmation link, he means the security questions. Okay, so we're going to let Jeff know. So we're going to go share with customer, and then he'll see, hey, they've fixed this. Now, at this point, you have two options. If you aren't sure that the issue is resolved, what you can do is you can click on Waiting on Customer, and you can see here it's paused. So Jeff then will be able to go on and see, hey, the password has been reset and the confirmation questions have been fixed. You can feel free to leave a comment with them and say, Jeff, I'm wondering if this resolved your issue. Please let me know if I can close your request. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to share this with the customer. Now Jeff will receive an email and can view this in the portal. Okay, so then when Jeff comments back, it will change this back into waiting on support. So I'm going to go ahead and do this really quick. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at what happens when the customer views this in their portal. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at what happens when what the customer sees when you mark something as waiting for customer. So we left Jeff this nice comment that says, Jeff, I'm wondering if this issue is resolved. Please let me know if I can close your request. Thank you. Okay, so over here we are signed in as Jeff. what we're going to do is we're going to go to requests and my requests. Now they can see here that I've commented, I'm wondering if this resolved your issue. Please let me know if I can close your request. Because you clicked on the share comment externally, it creates a public comment and the customer can actually see it. However, if you would have clicked on comment internally, it would hide it. So for documentation and those kinds of things, comment internally. Otherwise, if you want the customer to see it, this is where you will go. Okay, so we're going to say, Timothy, the issue is resolved. I've been able to log in successfully. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so now when we do that, you can see they have to refresh the page. However, you can see it transitions automatically back into waiting on support. Now, the great feature about this is if you need something from the customer, you always know when they're giving you the information that you need, and you aren't always having to ask them, hey, did you get around to giving me this? And also it will just be automatically documented in your ticket. Okay, so we're going to switch back to this view. We're going to refresh here. Okay, so you can see the issue is resolved. I've been able to log in successfully. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so at this point, if you have additional work to do, we will mark it back as in progress. Or if the issue is fully resolved, what you can do is click on workflow. And the reason for this is because there's too many buttons, so it hides some of them. And you have the option of complete this request or cancel this request. We actually did help Jeff, so we're going to go ahead and complete this request. Now, there's a couple of things here. You can see that the SLA goal was met, and you can see the resolution is completed. When we go back into our queues, you will see under closed, you will see password is locked out on my email. Okay, so now you understand how to raise a request for someone, and then how to work with the request, as well as what the customer sees. The reports will actually be pretty important. Most important ones for you as a technician will be SLA goals. You can see what your SLAs are. So for the IT team, they have everything in priority low has been met. They have a goal of 40 hours. That's because everything defaults to low. So for them to change the priority, then it would categorize it differently. Another big piece is at the end of every request, the customer is able to rate the technician. Now, I am not actually Jeff, so I didn't log into his email to rate the customer satisfaction. However, you can see here that somebody did give me a 5-star review. Now, if we want to actually go in and see what that is, we can go in and look at these custom reports. We're not going to worry about knowledge base because that's not set up and we won't be using it. However, let's take a look very quickly at the custom reports. You can see here that on May 22nd, we had one created, one resolved, and then on May 23rd, one created, one resolved. So as you can see here, the data points overlap. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want to see, is an even amount of created and resolves. That means that you're keeping on top of your work. Now the customer satisfaction, as I was showing you earlier, someone on May 22nd gave us a 5-star rating. Now if we click on it, it will filter to that. And you can see here that Ryan actually logged in and gave me a 5-star rating. You can click on the request and you can see here that Ryan gave me a 5-star rating. They can also leave a comment and that will appear next to it or below it. As you can see here, these are not configured. Now, if we wanted to configure them, the managers can ask me to go ahead and set them up the series that they would like to see. So if we wanted to track the problems by priority, we can go ahead and actually set these up. Okay, now for each team, I've also configured a couple of different links that are very simple. You can go ahead and click on the link here, and it will open you a new tab to whatever tools you use. Now, if you need additional links added, please contact me. I did add in the Credible link into the Credible team and Atera into the IT team. For the links that people will typically be using very frequently, I have added them up to here, and you will see there are 4 links here. The downside to these is they do not open in a new tab. So please be aware when you're clicking on them that if you have something open, you will lose whatever you're working on. There is a link to the Jira portal, which this is the KBBH portal. So you can click on this, and this is where you can go if you need to create a request. Please use this portal to create requests for other projects. Do not create requests from the create button. You may use the raise an issue because you can see it looks identical to the screen that you land at. Okay, so we're going to go back to the home page, and as you can see, I have no more issues assigned to me, and my dashboards are built, my projects are configured, and everyone else now has a ton of emails from my tests. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to contact myself, Timothy, and I'd be more than happy to help. Thank you.